Hi, I'm Charlotte Donlon, and I'm a writer and a spiritual director and the host of Art and Faith Unplugged. My first book, The Great Belonging: How Loneliness Leads Us to Each Other, came out last November, November 10th, 2020. And 2020 was a rough year for all of us for various reasons. Because it was a rough year because of the pandemic and a chaotic election and other things. I didn't get to do a lot of the things I wanted to do for my book launch. What I asked people to do was to take a nap on the day my book came out. So, friends, family, readers, whoever, if they asked how they could support me, I said, please take a nap because we can't belong to ourselves, others, God, or the world if we're exhausted. So, one thing that I wanted to do was like a behind the scenes kind of review for each chapter of the book. And because I didn't get to do that when the book came out, I am doing it now. So, this first video is on the foreword and the introduction for The Great Belonging. And I'm going to try to keep these around 3 or 4 minutes because there are a lot of chapters in the book, and no one wants to watch anything for more than a few minutes. So, the foreword was written by, actually, the dedication. The book is for my daughter. For many reasons. There are some chapters in here that talk about how loneliness is somewhat genetic, and my daughter, who's 18 now, and I've had several conversations about loneliness and what it looks like and what it feels like, and there are some things that we're both familiar with, some things that we share with regards to loneliness and belonging. So, because of those conversations, and because I hope this book helps her feel less alone in her life, I dedicated it to her. All right. The foreword was written by my friend and mentor, Lauren Winner, Dr. Lauren Winner. I'll just read a sentence or so. I don't think that will, what's the word, go against any like copyright rules. She writes, as you would with any companion, the great belonging inquires into loneliness's history and habits and fears. Charlotte Donlon, and in the company of the great belonging's fearless and smart author, Charlotte Donlon, that's me, we, the readers, are allowed to indulge our interest in loneliness. I, for one, am interested in both senses of the term. And then she talks about those two senses, and she says she loves the book and hopes you will too. Lauren is the author of Wearing God and Still, Notes on a Mid-Faith Crisis. Both of those books are great. All of her books are great. Actually, I reread parts of her first book, Girl Meets God, a few weeks ago, and it was really good. I was like, you were a great writer even when you were like 22 or however old you were when you wrote this memoir, which A, you wrote a memoir when you're super young. B, you were a fantastic writer back then. I mean, she's obviously grown as a writer and in her faith, but it was really cool to go back and look at that book and see like how well written it was, even, a long time ago. All right, we're at the 4-minute mark. So I'm going to go on and talk about the intro real quick and then stop this video and do one for chapter 1. And I'm just going to do as many as I can until I need a break, and then I will pick back up another day. So in the first sentence of this book was one of the first sentences I wrote while I was writing the book, which is interesting because I didn't know it was going to be the first sentence of the book. And so many chapters got thrown out. So I feel like I wrote 4 books. And from those 4 books, we culled and pulled these chapters and formed this book from what was available. A few of the chapters were written like at the last minute. So Lauren was doing some of the editing with me and just brainstorming with me. And it was a week before my manuscript was due, the first draft of it. And she's like, you need to write a chapter about X and a chapter about Y. And I was like, no, I don't, because the book is due next week and I don't want to write any more chapters. But she was right. I wrote the chapters and there's some of my favorite chapters in the book. So anyway, this intro, first sentence is, sometimes I wonder if loneliness resides in an extra secret organ within the body, maybe the size of a plum, a storehouse of dense alienation hidden deep within us. And then the next sentence, I wonder if God knew we'd need a special place for our loneliness because we would have so much of it. So that's how my part of the book starts, after the foreword, obviously. And I invite readers to come alongside me as we explore loneliness and belonging, as we dip our toes into the pools and waters of loneliness. I do not solve the problem of loneliness in this book because I don't think it can be solved. Some of us experience it more than others. Some of us have seasons of more intense loneliness. Some of us are lonely but don't acknowledge it. We deny it. We keep ourselves busy. We do whatever we can to avoid the reality of our loneliness. And then the book also invites people to explore the ways we belong to ourselves, others, and God. It invites people to explore the ways they belong to their places. So place is a huge part of this book. And there's a whole section on belonging through art. So, and that is one of my favorite sections. And that is what has inspired my current writing about art and some aspects of the ways art helps us belong. So this is my first video of behind the scenes with The Great Belonging, How Loneliness Leads Us to Each Other. And it's longer than I thought it would be because I talk. I like to talk, especially about my book. Again, I'm Charlotte Donlon. I'm a writer, a spiritual director, and host of Art and Faith Unplugged. You can learn more about me at charlottedonlon.com, writinglifespiritualdirection.com, and artandfaithunplugged.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Charlotte Donlon, one word, but most of my best stuff will be found in my book, on my websites, in my other writing, and in my podcast episodes. I enjoy social media, but that's not where you'll find the best of me. All right. Thanks. I'll see you next time.